We're here in Berlin at the Block Show Europe, and one of the most inspirational speakers is actually Olga Feldmeier, one of the co-founders of Crypto Valley. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Great to be here. Thank you.
And you just did a talk on stage, actually about Crypto Valley. Maybe you can say something about that. What was actually the conclusion of the talk?
Well, we had a conversation about the rise of crypto valleys in plural, right? Because you see, I think, one legislation that attracted a lot of interest last year due to the ICO regulation was Switzerland. But today we see the rise of different jurisdictions, right? Singapore is moving forward, Gibraltar is moving forward, Liechtenstein, Malta. There are a lot of smaller countries that are really interested in attracting this innovation to their shores. Nevertheless, I think, if your business model is about financial services, payments, fintech, Switzerland is a really great place to be.
All right. And if you look back, what kind of development is when you started? When did you actually start with Crypto Valley? Out of your head?
Well, there's a whole notion of Crypto Valley. It's kind of, it's been coined by one of the early startuppers back in 2014. Back in 2015, we were probably like 3-4 companies in Crypto Valley, basically Ethereum. Vitalik Buterin came there and rented this little house where they eat, worked, slept, and it was all in one house. We were with Xapo, also starting there back in 2015. Very few other companies, right? And what happened is that, because we achieved to figure out the regulatory approval for our Bitcoin business in Switzerland, that attracted a lot of other companies in the space. And the second thing is that in 2017, last year, the whole wave of ICOs came on shores of Switzerland. Basically, Switzerland was the third largest countries in funding for ICO companies, and probably the half of all top ICO companies were done through foundation or companies in Switzerland, like Tezos and Bancor and Cosmos and so on and so on, right? And why? Because basically, in Switzerland there is not such a clear, hard rule what is security, what is not security, and more than that, even if it's a security, it's not that bad, right? The processes how to register this offering, they are not that cumbersome. You just need to issue a prospectus and register of shareholders, and you can go. And also, because Switzerland has this principle-based regulation, so quite light approach, not very bureaucratic or,
How did you pull it off? I mean...
That was a long story, It's actually, what is great in Switzerland, it's a small country, and regulator is quite approachable. So if you have, your business model is like this, and the current law is like that, you can come to them and you can say, look, we have a gap, right? So let's figure out how to work with it, right? And they're eager to engage in conversations, they're eager to find a solution. Switzerland was always a, leader in innovation. If you look at the international rankings, right? Switzerland is one of the most innovative countries, right? So why not in other industry which is so important, financial services, right? So I think there is a huge potential, to develop into this leading hub for crypto finance and crypto business, right? It's happening already today. We have, what do you think, how many companies we have registered in this crypto space today in Switzerland?
Must be thousands.
Oh, no. We're not yet there, but 400 companies, that's also pretty good. So this ecosystem is developing, a lot of new associations. Last year, this association came up, Crypto Valley Association. It's one of many, right? And as we see more and more companies move into Switzerland to take advantage of this liberal, neutral regulation, the whole ecosystem will be growing further, which is exciting,
Yeah. And
You should come and visit us.
yeah, of course, of course. And what is actually your personal What is actually your personal strength to pull it off? I mean, what's your role within the community of Switzerland?
Well, I do several things. So first of all, I'm CEO of Smart Valor, a marketplace for tokenized investments, and what we are targeting is to solve the problem of legacy and quality on ICO and tokenization space, right? So you see, I think there is a big potential for security tokens, right? And the question, like, what is the regulatory structure of the exchange that is also distributing security tokens? How can you tokenize real assets or funds, right? How you can enable this access, global access to finance, the best breed of finance. This is the questions that we target to answer and to place this platform as a global space for security tokens, right? And I think what is different about us is that, through my experience of working with regulator, I think there is a way to solve issues or achieve agreement with the regulator, even in those topics that are difficult, right? Just because, the regulator are open and they want to make this happen, right?
You have a great network as well.
Exactly, that also helps. And apart from that, we are doing blockchain crypto summit. Crypto summit is the biggest, the first international largest blockchain conference to which I would like to invite you guys and all of the viewers. It's next time, it's in October, 8th, 9th of October. Last one was a huge one, with also top crypto people, who is who of the crypto industry. I hope you will be able to join.
A few questions, Olga. I mean, what do you see for the future, for the next 5 years, maybe, for the crypto space to develop?
Well, we will see probably the rise of the several global hubs for crypto business, right? So in Asia, it will probably be something like Japan and Singapore, right? They are already doing an amazing job in enabling this innovation, especially Japan, right? Also, the way we see it from far away and the way people on the ground experience is again different, right? So I hear also a lot of critique from companies that are on the ground in Japan, right? But I mean, we have to keep in mind that, actually for regulator has a very difficult task, to figure out this thin line between enabling innovation in this space, but on the other side, protecting investors and consumers, right? And this is not an easy problem to solve, right?
What would you advise? Sorry to interrupt. What would you advise the Dutch government or even the American government? What security tokens are actually forbidden, or not forbidden, but you go through a whole process?
Yeah, what we need is basically a little bit, relaxation of the process, right? They are not forbidden, right? It's kind of like, look, you have two things. Either you go and list on public stock exchange, you do IPO, right? Or if you do a public offering of participation in your company, you do some kind of like, those exceptions, right? They have regulation A, regulation D, but they're still too cumbersome for startups, right? You need to have audited financial statements, you need to register it with Security and Exchange Commission, and that. And the problem is that you need to do this in all the countries where you offer your token. So that is kind of like, that is the core of the problem. How we enable something that is legal and that is maybe not just utility token, but which is, maybe tokenized equity in a company, how we can enable that in a legal and compliant way while we can do this on a global scale. So this is a global distribution. That's a challenge, right?
Can the government in Holland contact you, or?
Yes, sure. I'm eager to talk. I've been already very active on regulatory field, being representative of the industry and having this open dialogue with regulator, with authorities, right? And I'm happy to help.
All right. To conclude, do you have actually some favorite coins? Do you trade yourself? No?
I'm more like that. Hodl.
You're Miss Hodl, eh?
Yeah, I invested in Bitcoin back in 2013, where very few people believe in it. I was impressed by what happened with Cyprian banks. Cyprian banks were basically on the verge of default and stopped paying out deposits, right? And you saw like at the same time the price of Bitcoin came from 30 to 70 to 100, right? And I thought like, wow, this is crazy. So there is a really correlation between what happens in real economy and what happens with this cryptocurrency. So I thought like, wow, wait, this is just Cyprian banks. Imagine we have a financial crisis, or imagine we have a war or something like that. Isn't that a new kind of hedge, a new digital gold, right? Yeah. And I'm big believer in Bitcoin. I was cited saying that Bitcoin can go to 100,000. I still believe it. Yes, it's just question of time. And apart from that, of course, the platform tokens are very interesting. Still Ethereum, EOS, all those new inventions. I actually also very much what Charles Hoskinson is doing with Cardano, right? I mean, all of this stuff, it's never been tested, really. It will be tested once, you have massive flow of transactions going through that, and then you can prove, how scalable, how how much power is in the network, right? And the whole topic of interoperability, of course, that's going to be the leading the company or the group of people or the community that is going to solve that problem will probably come into the history of crypto close to Satoshi Nakamoto.
Thank you very much, Ms. Feldmeier, and all the best. And we have to go to the Crypto Valley in Switzerland to see actually nice examples of a crypto industry that works and grows very fast. So, okay, thank you very much.
Bye.